Can you see my screen? Can someone give me feedback?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please.
I will mostly read the presentation so it is more easy to follow for the public. IFLA is currently represent more than 80 national associations from Africa, Americas, Europe, Asia Pacific region, and Middle East. So we are the only global federation as such of landscape architects. And beside the National Association, we also have a lot of independent members, more than 100,000. We represent the landscape architect in government and non-government organization. We build up a lot of memorandum of cooperation with institutions like the United Nations, the Union of the Architects, of the Planners, Institute of Urban Health, and so on. So we are those trying not only to build within the discipline, but also to link the discipline outwards. But our mission, when we look inside, is to promote the profession, nurturing the highest standards of education, research, and practice. This is me. I'm the chair of Education Academic Affairs Committee. And if you want to contact me, that's my official email. I do several other things which are related to landscape. I'm an associate professor on the landscape architecture department in Taipei. I'm a partner of a practice doing landscape architecture, and I'm editorial director of a publishing house with focus on landscape and planning. For all the other purposes not IFLA related, you can reach me to this email. Now, if we look at the Education Academic Affairs Committee of IFLA, there are four main lines of action. I show this to the people because if there is any volunteer that want to join or is interested to participate, can always contact me and reach out. We look to the survey of the existing programs worldwide. So to check how many programs in the world, no matter is within an IFLA associated country or another one, are present. And today we mapped 555 between bachelor's, master's, and PhD landscape architecture programs worldwide, and they are constantly growing. The second thing we do is that we work to provide a recognition accreditation system of those programs through specific standards that set up kind of minimum benchmark for the quality of the profession later on. Why we do this? Because for us it's key to ensure the global mobility in the field. So once they study somewhere, it is crucial for us that they will be able to go exchange and study somewhere else for their master, or they go practice in another region. The third is that we try to survey the state of the art of the best education outcomes. And we do this by the IFLA student competition that is currently undergoing also some changes. This is just like an action for us to benchmark what is the best we can achieve, at least at the level of education. And why we need to do this, not only to supply this to the schools and the institution related to IFLA, but also to provide this as a reference to our allied agency. For example, since last year, United Nations Habitat, as a memorandum of understanding with us, recognized landscape architecture as a discipline that can be hired by United Nations, and then we provide the result of the competition and our comments as a means for them to evaluate possible candidates for positions. And the fourth, we actively try to trigger global exchange between academic institutions. We do this through the GSP Charette Global Studio Program that I will explain later on. And then you will also see more intervention about that later on. Why we do this? Because we really would like to nurture a global academia platform where the regional difference will be valued. We know that landscape architecture may have a common basis, but regionally speaking, is very different. And my statements, my comments will be mostly related to these aspects. So there are just like 10 short phrases that I want the public to focus. And the first one, I want to remember everyone that today landscape architecture is a very young discipline. And notwithstanding that, it is under intense development. But due to this, there is both hype and some confusion in discipline, especially if we look at the global level. Some people think landscape architecture do something, some people think landscape architecture do something else. There are a lot of different approaches, especially the elite academia is so sophisticated that the message of what is done sometimes is lost. Anyhow, regardless these regional peculiarities and the diverse pathway of development of the practice, ecology or sustainability, and here becomes the controversial part, cannot be the reason of landscape architecture. Currently, today, ecology or sustainability is not the real reason behind landscape architecture. If we really would accept that, some people are already suggesting that we would be phagocytated, would be eaten by other disciplines like environmental engineering or architecture or other stuff. This is very important to point and remember. As I said to you, we may be doomed to succumb to other discipline, regardless the current type. Since a few decades, landscape architecture is developing in reality due to global socio-technical and cultural change of the way in which we live. This change happened on three levels, which are crucial for us. The first one is that countries around the world are becoming more liberal. The second is that technology is diffusing mobility. It's not like really recent stuff, but everyone moves a lot, commuting and so on, and becomes like a common practice. And the movement is not just local, but also is global. And this is happening worldwide. So there is a consequently, there is a rising presence of open and collective space at the large scale. This presence is a presence in our life. Currently, today, everyone experience this open and collective space at a large scale almost daily. Wherever we are, poor countries, rich countries, developing countries, wherever, by the mobility, by the life, we do experience space at a very large scale, and we experience mostly this open collective space. And this is where landscape architecture is actually today going strong, because there is a necessity to provide qualitative improvements to such space in order to better human life. So landscape architecture today is all about this new public realm. If you think about all the presentation that we had in the first session, most of those has been speaking about this. They did not really address nature. They did not really address sustainability, not by chance. They address engagement, they address the way in which we do field work with society, with people, we address government and so on. But of course, within this new public realm, nature is eminently participating due to sustainability challenges that we are dealing with. And because the discipline has roots in the past, in notion, in attitudes, approaches of botany and so on, we also have knowledge in relationship to that, which make us stronger. So the discipline is all about spatial organization of the landscape at the large scale. First of all, it cannot be but that. Second, it is about the cultural construction of a qualitative idea of landscape. Not everyone consider open space outside necessarily something relevant. It becomes relevant only in the moment in which there is some awareness, there is some beauty, there is some qualitative improvement to life. So it is here that our discipline, I believe, has a key duty to solve. Third, there is the problem of the politics of such construction. To build up a shared, a common understanding of landscape and the quality of landscape, it is a political act. We need to make many people have consensus on that. We need to have transformation. And of course, fourth, we cannot disregard nature, but it only comes as last somehow. So today, teaching landscape architecture must imply educating to the organization of space at a large scale, which is highly abstract and sophisticated. It is way more difficult than architectural education, which is something which is in many countries around the world not really clear. Landscape architecture, way of design, and the challenges of scale it faces are way more complex and difficult than those of architecture as such. The second, it is about educating to the construction of landscape culture, which also means recognize the value of aesthetics within. How do we create aesthetics so that the experience of the landscape becomes something sensible to the people, and the people may develop pride and awareness of that? And the third, of course, educating to the problem of consensus, educating to the politics, educating to how to contribute to society in the way in which society deals with the things by politics. And of course, fourth, related to what I said before, because there is nature, educating to the many roles and the management of nature within the new public realm, especially in the light of sustainability and emergency that we are facing now. So we need to have some globally shared knowledge and a lot of regionally localized knowledge. But also this regionally localized knowledge, due to the social dimension, requires a lot of confrontation between global diversities. In order to develop a landscape culture, it's very difficult to develop from within a place. The voice, our ideas would just go around in circle without understanding the difference, what make unique a place. So only by having a platform of exchange, confrontation, some awareness of landscape culture may arise. When you see a landscape like this, for the people to understand that this may have an aesthetics, may have a value, not only they need to have a qualitative improvement, but they need also to have a comparison with other, reference to the other, so that they understand the specificity, what they need to be proud of. So based on that, we built up the Global Studio program. The Global Studio program is been, oh, sorry. It's been based in involving 21 programs of landscape architecture, bachelor programs, to join 4 charrettes, each held in a different region of the world. And the students and the tutor from these schools, from these programs, were supposed to follow each and every charrette. The charrette had the different topics. Organizers were free, so to say, in terms of culture. But space design was always a stake, related to what I said before. At the end, we will evaluate the best performance. We will give some award as IFLA, and we will create also some shared assessment between the various programs to define what is valid of educative credit in the various regions. These finally offer evidence to a platform for someone must be muted. Sorry. Oh. So due to this, if I go through the program we had some announcements in March. In June, we closed the application to GSP. From April to June, we built some capacity. We did some capacity building. In early September, we had the first charrette in Istanbul in the context of the World IFLA World Congress. Then we had the charrette in Taipei in October. Then we just had the charrette in Jeddah, and we will have a last charrette of this first session in Mexico City in early January, followed by the final awards. So reframed by this presentation, the GSP objectives are: first, globally consolidating landscape architecture as a space discipline. It's not just about botany, it's not just agriculture, not just sustainability. It is a space discipline with the design of the large scale at the core. And the second, offering the programs the chance for a platform to confront and begin discussion on how to construct landscape culture. So if you want to reach me out in relationship to the activity of the IFLA EAA, again, this is my email and contact. I passed the word to Shukran Sain, which was the first organizer of one of the GSP charrettes, the one held in Istanbul for the World Congress. Shukran.